This is a kind of impromptu video that I'm filming today. I'm going to try to keep my voice within the realms of soft-spoken ASMR. I actually had a model scheduled to come film with me today, but she had to cancel and wasn't quite sure what to do with my time. I originally was going to film it with a special guest, and I still will have the special guest on and we'll eventually do some sort of series that was planned, but it's just been postponed a couple of times now, and I didn't want to keep you guys waiting because I'm actually almost at 60K. There's a fly in here. That's so embarrassing. I'm so sorry. We're just going to ignore that and we're going to keep going. Also, Bruce is snoring off camera and baby cat is behind me. So this is a very real life, not as highly produced video, and we're just going to kind of roll with the punches here, and I hope you guys will be okay with that. If you see me looking off to the side, I have my iPad here with all of the questions. So firstly, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching my content, enjoying my content. Everyone who subscribes, likes, comments, is just a viewer, whether it's regular or casual, it is so appreciated. I think it's kind of hard to really understand how much of a difference the audience makes if you're not a content creator, but truly the engagement, the support, the positivity from you guys is really what keeps me going, and it means so much to me. I genuinely love ASMR. I've been an ASMR fan for quite a long time. I started watching ASMR, I want to say in like 2010-ish, 2010 to 2012, when I was in my late high school years. I graduated high school in 2012, and it was kind of before ASMR was really a title. At the time, I think I was just watching some sort of like massage video or like the nursing OSCE exams. Didn't really know what it was, not sure why I was even watching them or how I stumbled upon it, but that kind of led me down the rabbit hole of watching these other videos. And then I started watching early creators. Some of the people that I used to watch in the very beginning were like Tony Bomboni, Heather Feather, Maria Gentle Whispering, and several other OG creators, some of which who don't even create ASMR anymore, which is kind of crazy to think about. So I've wanted to be in this space for a very long time, whether it was consuming the content or just being a part of the community. I actually started making videos quite a few years ago, maybe 7 or 8 or even more years ago. I made a couple practice videos just like sitting on the floor, like crocheting or something really odd, just the content that I would never really post now, but this is a space that I've wanted to be in for a very long time. So just thought I would share a little bit of that with you if you guys are curious how I got into the space. That is a question that I get frequently. So yeah, that's a little bit of background and we can go ahead and get started. This question is asking what got you into making ASMR videos, which I've kind of already answered. Has there ever been a time you second guessed yourself? All the time, constantly. And how do you get over filming jitters? So to answer the first question, how did I get into making ASMR videos? Just by watching the content, something that I've just watched for a very long time. I'll kind of answer this part of it a little bit later when I get to that question, but I did work in the medical field for a while. So this was kind of an onset of that allowed me to still feed my like creative mind, but use some of my expertise in a way that I think is a little bit more niche and interesting. So that is part of that as well. And have I ever second guessed myself? All the time. Constantly. I am a perfectionist. I'm very hard on myself. I'm very critical of my work and of my content. And I second guess myself every single video, every single week. I don't know that that will ever go away. That's just part of my personality. How do I get over filming jitters? I don't really get super nervous when filming anymore. If it's been a while, if I've kind of stacked up on content and it's been a while since I filmed, I do get a little bit nervous just because I've been out of the groove for a bit. I haven't been on or like performing in a while, so it can take me a little bit to get back into it, but I don't get jitters, I would say, anymore. I do get a little bit nervous if I'm filming with a new model, if I'm filming with a new client. I do try to do a little bit of like preliminary work behind the scenes to ensure that they're having the most relaxing experience, like asking questions. What kind of experience are they looking for? What kind of ASMR do they watch? What kind do they not like? But even so, when they come in for the first time, it does make me just a little bit nervous because I want us both to enjoy the session mutually. How do I get over that? I guess I just do it. Once I start, the models that I have on now are pretty regular. I have the same few girls come in, which is nice because we've kind of built up a rapport. I'm comfortable with them. Hopefully they're comfortable with me. And that kind of helps me get over that a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm not a people person. I know that's not a very nice thing to say. I am kind of shy and I'm introverted, and I don't have a lot of friends in real life. I do have a few friends, but not very many. I'm just not a very extroverted kind of people conversationalist. So it is a little bit hard for me to get to know new people, but I do my best. And hopefully, if any of you guys are watching this and you've been a model of the channel, feel free to comment and tell people that I'm nice to you. My next question is, what is your favorite ASMR to listen to? I listen to a bit of a mix. I will say since becoming a creator of the content, I have kind of moved more into watching POV content myself. It is a little bit hard to watch content and enjoy it without having your work mind on. So I tend to watch real person ASMR if I'm looking for inspiration or whatever the case is, or doing research. There are still some real person ASMR videos that I will watch for my own relaxation, but I would say now for the most part I watch POV content just because I don't tend to film it as much, and therefore I don't tend to look at it as work as much. I can watch it and actually enjoy it and relax to it, versus real person ASMR. I just find myself thinking like, oh, that's a cool idea, or I really like that angle, or she has really good lighting in this video, whatever the case is, but it's hard to turn off that part of my brain when I'm watching content that's similar to what I film. Do I have a favorite trigger when I'm filming? I really like palpations. I like performing palpations, specifically of like the face, neck, like upper body area. I find that really relaxing. I like gentle hair movement, like moving hair off the shoulders to access a certain area. I think that's really relaxing. Is there one that gives me tingles? I don't really get tingles when I'm filming, I will be honest with you. It is very rare that I actually give myself tingles when I'm performing ASMR on another person, just because I'm so focused on hoping that they're enjoying the experience, thinking about camera angles, wondering if I'm in focus. Like my brain is just kind of going. Trying to maintain voice levels is kind of difficult for me. I'm sure you guys have noticed that I tend to go high and low a lot. So that's something that I try to be mindful of, and all of that kind of takes away from me actually experiencing ASMR, because when I'm filming, my goal is for you guys to enjoy it, both the audience and the model that I'm filming with. So I hope that makes sense. What's the most unexpectedly emotional message you've ever received from a viewer? Oh, wow. I would have to think about it. Honestly, I've gotten several. I have a lot of you guys tell me that I help you with your anxiety, that I help you with your depression, that I help you sleep, and all of that truly means so much to me, because as someone who also watches the content, I definitely relate to that. I have my comfort creators that I know, if I watch this one specific ASMR video, regardless of how I'm feeling, I know that I'm going to be able to sleep, or that I'm going to be able to feel better, or whatever the case is. So to know that I provide that to you guys is amazing, and honestly hard to believe sometimes. I can't think of one. I can't pinpoint one message that I've received from someone, because there's just honestly been so many. So I just want to say thank you to anyone who's ever left a kind comment, whether it be emotional or otherwise. It really does make a difference, not only to help with engagement and the whole algorithm and measurement of the channel, but also just on a personal level. I do read every single comment. At this point, I probably should turn them off, but I still have my YouTube notifications turned on my phone, and I see a notification every single time a comment comes in. I don't have time to respond to every comment anymore. I did keep up with responding to every single comment for like the first 2 years of my channel, and I would spend all day responding to comments if I continued to do that. But I do read every single comment. I'm very active in my comment section, whether it's reading the comments, responding, filtering through, deleting if need be. But it does mean a lot to me every time you guys take a second to say something, so I do appreciate that very much. How long does it take you to plan, film, and edit a video from start to finish? That's a really good question, and it does take quite a while. Depending on the video, if it's not a new concept, if it's something that I'm very familiar with and I've filmed a million times, like a cranial nerve exam or a head to toe exam, it doesn't take that long to conceptualize it, because I know what tools I'm going to grab. I would say honestly the longest part for me is like the production side of it, and then the post, which is editing. So like the lighting, the camera angles. I'm not filming out of a studio anymore, which I'll get to in a little while, but I'm typically am filming at different locations. Right now I'm in my kitchen, dining room area. But if I'm filming out of a hotel, for example, or an Airbnb, my camera battery is going to die. So give me 1 second and I will switch that out and be right back. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully we are consistent with the framing here. Okay, yes. So the longest part for me is definitely the production side, as far as like setting up the angles, making sure everything looks okay. I spend far too much time on staging, like way too much time. It doesn't even matter. I like rotating plans and trying to make things symmetrical and things that I'm sure you guys don't notice or even care about, but I do my best. Like right now I can tell that these lines above my head on the blinds are not straight, and it's gonna drive me nuts when I edit this, but we're just gonna let it fly today. The other longest part is definitely the editing. Editing takes me a very long time. My videos are also on the longer side. I tend to be, I would say, averaging like 45 minutes. They used to be quite a bit longer, and I've kind of cut it down a little bit, which has helped. But I would say editing a video, if it's like 65 minutes of raw footage, it's gonna take me a solid 6 to 8 hours to edit, sometimes longer. I've had edits that have taken me well over 12 hours. Every once in a while, very rarely, I'll have an edit that just is smooth for whatever reason, and it takes me maybe 3 hours. 3 to 4 hours is very, very fast for me. I'm a slow editor. I would say on average, excuse the airplane, I would say on average, if I'm filming, let's say a video with a new model, you know, I'm not familiar with them, it's in a new location, a new hotel, start to finish, this says plan, editing, and filming from start to finish, I'm gonna say a solid 20 hours. That's including like the prep, the planning, if I have to research anything, sanitizing the tools, setting everything up, all of that. Anywhere from 15 to 20 hours, I would say, is probably pretty accurate. Filming in itself, one video I would say typically is about 90 minutes. I usually tell my models to account for about 90 minutes for one session. That includes, you know, angle setup and framing and all of that. I would say 90 minutes to 2 hours is probably normal for one video, just for the actual filming. And do you usually script your role plays or improvise them? I don't really script my videos anymore. At the very beginning, I would say for about the first 2 years of my channel, I was scripting them pretty regularly. Not every single video, but there were videos that I was scripting more, and now I just kind of wing it. I can't tell you the last time I scripted a video. I think at that time I was still just kind of getting comfortable with everything. But I honestly find that my pacing and my speech and like not stumbling over my words, it just flows a lot better for me if I just run through it naturally and I don't script anymore. So I do research certain things if there are certain things I want to say, I want to make sure that I'm saying correctly, but otherwise it's just kind of, I tell the models who come in, just act as if you're truly at the doctor and just kind of let things flow normally. This person wants to know what I do outside of work, outside of ASMR work, and what got me started making your own videos. So I already answered the second question there, but what do I do outside of work? This is actually my job now. I have been a full-time, this is a question I get pretty frequently. I've been a full-time ASMR creator for about 1.5 years now. So May of 2024, I quit my job and decided to do this full-time. Prior to that, I was working full-time in healthcare, 36 plus hours a week. I was doing travel nursing, which I will get more into, but yeah, so this is my job now. This is what I do full time, and I'm super grateful for it. It's kind of hard to believe sometimes that this is what I do when I wake up in the morning and I think about my schedule and what I'm going to do for the day, or if there's days where I'm not feeling well or I'm overwhelmed with my workload or whatever the case is. There's nobody to blame but myself because I'm the boss. So I frequently say that I hate my boss, and the boss is me. This person wants to know what job career did I have as a kid or a teen, and did I stay in that field? My first job was at the county fair, the LA County Fair. I was applying lotion to strangers and I absolutely hated it. I believe I was like 14 years old. I actually did it with my mom. We both did it as like a summer job, and I definitely wasn't 16, so I guess you were allowed to do it with parental consent. I have no idea, but it was literally like a display counter at the fair. And people would come in and I would ask them if I could put this lotion on them, and then I would put the lotion on them and they would either buy it or not. And the thought of me touching strangers' hands now and rubbing things on them grosses me out. So that was my very first job. And then I worked at a gas station. That was my first like adult job when I turned 18. I worked at a local gas station, hated that as well. And then I went to college, and I think when I came home for the summer, I worked at Burlington for a little while. I also had a job at Build-A-Bear at one point, which I hated. Retail is definitely not 1000% not for me. And then I went into the medical field, and that's actually not what I went to school for at all. I went to college for communications and business administration. So I've kind of been jumping all over the place until I decided or stumbled upon what I really wanted to do. This person wants to know if we can talk about the keyboard. I get so many questions about this keyboard, you guys. It's hilarious. I've answered a couple of times in the comment section. So the keyboard is actually a real medical device, I guess you could say. A hospital that I worked at in Portland utilized these keyboards, and essentially it's just a Bluetooth keyboard that connects to the TV or monitor in the patient's room so they can access their health records. They can use it to access the internet, use it as like a regular keyboard, whatever the case is. The reason I have it is because it doesn't actually work, and they were throwing it away, as with a lot of the equipment that I have. It is a real medical keyboard. I know the most frequent question that I get about the keyboard is, where's the screen? There's no screen, guys. The screen is in my brain. The screen, theoretically, if it were being used in practice, would be like the actual monitor in the patient's room. It would connect, and then kind of like a keyboard you would connect to your iPad. But the screen in the videos as I'm filming, there is no screen. I can't see what I'm typing. I do actually tend to type out what I'm saying so that the pacing is more realistic. So if I'm typing like, you know, blood pressure is within whatever, I am actually typing those words most of the time. Sometimes not, but most of the time I would say I do. And then the screen is just, you know, locked in my brain. No, look at her. Hi, baby. She's sleepy. All right, moving on. This person wants to know how my dad is doing. My dad was in videos a couple of years ago. He's doing well. This is actually his house. Shout out to my dad. He's doing well. He should be home in a little while, so might be also why I'm talking a little fast. We have plans to order pizza and watch the game tonight, my dad and my brother, so spending a little bit of family time with the boys tonight. This question is, do I have a medical background? Yes, I do. I don't love to talk about this with you guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't ever want my channel to be seen as a source of education because I think it can get really sticky. That's a really gray area, especially when I was actually working in healthcare. I was very strict about not answering this question or making it very obvious that I was not here to provide you with any sort of education. I do have an extensive medical background. I was a nursing assistant for over 10 years. I then moved into doing travel nursing all throughout COVID. So I did travel nursing for 4 years. I've also been a medical receptionist at various facilities. I've worked at drug and alcohol intake rehabilitation services. I've worked at long-term care facilities, skilled nursing facilities. I've worked in memory care. About the only specialty I haven't worked in truly is pediatrics, but otherwise I've worked with a wide variety of people, different ailments. I've worked at a TBI facility and worked with people who had traumatic brain injuries. So I do have quite a wide array of medical knowledge. I'm not a doctor. And as much as I enjoy making this content, and I have 1000% capitalized off of my background in healthcare, I don't want you guys to take my content as a source of education because I'm not a provider and I'm not an educator. I'm here to help you relax. I will say that I do try to have my videos be paced realistically, and I definitely cater to the kind of unintentional niche, which I know is controversial, so I'm not even going to go there, but unintentional inspired, I'll say that niche is kind of where I live. Occasionally I'll lean more towards the intentional side, but for the most part I try to keep my pacing and verbiage, you know, on par with what would be considered realistic. I don't want you guys to think that I'm teaching you anything though. Some of the stuff that I say is not accurate. Some of the tools that I use are not used in a way that would really make sense in a medical setting. So as much as I love and appreciate that you guys think I sound smart, a lot of it is parroting. I do understand majority of what I'm saying and explaining to the camera, but it's just not meant to be perceived as a source of education. So I hope I've made that clear in a way that doesn't seem argumentative. I will sometimes get questions in the comment section asking for medical advice, and I just want to make it clear that that's not what I'm here for, and that you should definitely seek out care from an actual medical provider. So moving on, the next question is, have I ever had any model snore when filming? Yes. Yes, I have. I've had a couple people snore. I do try to edit it out or bring the volume down. I wouldn't say it's that frequent. Truly, the last person who fell asleep was my friend Lucy, and I just kind of left it in because I think she's cute and it wasn't that loud, so it wasn't that big of a deal. More often than not, if you hear snoring sounds in one of my videos, it's Bruce. Like he's off camera now sleeping, and he does snore very loud. So do I do this full time? Yes, I do. I actually made the decision to do this full time, like I said, back in May of last year. It took a lot of deliberation on my end and with the partner I had at the time. It was something that I wanted to do for a long time, but I wanted to do so responsibly. I didn't want to just quit my job and, throw caution to the wind and decide that I wanted to be a content creator. It certainly took a lot of bravery and courage on my end, but I did finally decide to do it, and I'm very happy that I did. I will say that YouTube is certainly not the most stable career. It is very fluctuating, and the income is kind of here and there, and it can be daunting and scary, but I am far happier now in this space than I was when I worked in healthcare. I was extremely burnt out and very depressed and having a really hard time with my mental health those last several years, especially working through COVID. It was really hard. So I'm a lot happier now. I know that wasn't part of the question, but just to give a little bit of context, I am a lot happier, and making the decision to do ASMR full time and make this my job was a decision that I had to make for like the betterment of my mental health, truly, because I really was struggling, and it was something that I was battling for a long time. So finally deciding to take that leap, as stressful as this job can be, and I'm overwhelmed a lot of the time, and I'm behind my schedule a lot of the time, and I now run the channel completely by myself. I don't have any help. It is very difficult, but I am so much happier. So thank you guys for watching, because if you didn't watch, I wouldn't have a job. So the next question is asking again if I script, which I do not anymore, but I'll say yes and no. And if I'm actually commenting on things that I really see on patients. Yes and no. I would say it depends on the rapport that I have with the patient or with the model. I do sometimes comment on things that I'm actually seeing to make the video more realistic. So if I see a mole, whether or not I think it's concerning is irrelevant because I'm not a dermatologist, but I will maybe comment on it. Sometimes I'll even have models say, hey, I have this scar, maybe we can work this into the video, or can we pretend that something's wrong with my whatever. Like I do ask, do you have any specific requests? Like recently I did a video with Samantha, who's a frequent model of the channel, and she asked that we do like an injury assessment of her wrist, where maybe her wrist was sprained, and while I'd like to think it was a convincing role play, her wrist was not actually sprained. That was a simulated injury. So it just kind of depends. Most of the time I would say it's made up, but sometimes I do kind of work in it. Moving on, what is your favorite kind of ASMR to film? I would say, I don't know that I have a specific favorite. I kind of enjoy filming all of it. I will say my least favorite kind of ASMR to film is POV for sure. And it's just because, like, even right now, I'm not sure if I'm looking at the lens or looking at the camera. I could be looking where I'm not supposed to be looking. I don't know. POV is so hard for me. I'm often amazed when I watch people like Kepwas ASMR or August ASMR. I think produces some of the most amazing POV content I've ever seen, in that she is so interactive with the camera and you would swear she's actually looking at you. I don't know how she does it, because I've tried and it's just so difficult, and I do plan on incorporating more POV content. I have been kind of slowly introducing it on my Patreon and here on YouTube as well, but it's just not something I'm super, super comfortable with. I definitely need to build up a better rapport with myself and the camera. It's far, far easier for me to engage with a person in real life. So POV is my least favorite. What is my favorite though? I honestly don't know. I kind of enjoy filming all of it. I don't know that there's something I would choose over the other. The next question is about Sandra. Is Sandra your mom? And if that's too personal, you understand. Sandra is not my mom. Sandra is actually my cousin. She is my older cousin. She is my uncle's daughter, so she's my first cousin. And yeah, she's not my mom. She's not old enough to be my mom. She's very sweet though, and I do enjoy having her on the channel. It's actually been quite a while since I filmed with her, and I did film 2 videos with her the other day. So you will be seeing Sandra again very soon. This person wants to know, what are some goals of mine in 2025? 2025 is almost over, guys. I'm so sorry about this fly. I would say I hit one of the major goal for 2025, which was to hit 50,000 subscribers. I believe I will close out this year right above 60, maybe 70. 75 would be a miracle. That's probably not going to happen, but I will probably end somewhere around the 68 or 69,000 mark, which is amazing. Some goals I would say for next year would definitely be to hit 100,000 subscribers. I sincerely hope by the end of the next year that I'm there. More collaborations, maybe. I do maybe have another collab with my friend Hannah from Chili Bee coming very soon. I will be taking a trip to Seattle to visit her actually within the next few weeks. So very excited about that. Another personal / work related goal would be to have a dedicated studio space. So I don't love filming out of hotels, Airbnbs. It is kind of nice to have a variety of backgrounds every now and then, but I definitely prefer filming in a fixed studio space. So that is a big goal of mine. How old are you? I am 31. This person says, where are you located and are you accepting new clients? I am located in Southern California, kind of the Inland Empire area, if you're familiar with it. Am I accepting new clients? Yes, I am. I actually would love to get some new models on the channel. I will include the link to my Google Doc form in the description box of this video so you guys can fill it out. It's just a couple of questions asking basic information, and then I typically follow up via email. So if you do fill out the form, be sure to look out for an email from me. It's just siestawithsarah@gmail.com. I've had like so many people fill out the form and then just not respond to my email. So check your spam folder if you're not seeing it. Once you fill out the form, I typically respond within like a week or so. So you should get an email from me. If for whatever reason you filled out the form and you don't get a response from me, just send me a DM like on Instagram or something, or leave a comment saying, hey, I filled out the form and I haven't heard from you, and I will respond. What is the hardest thing about having an ASMR channel or a YouTube channel in general? I'm going to say editing. Pretty difficult for me. I didn't edit the first couple of years of the channel. My partner at the time edited all of the long form content, and then I was doing the short form content. So it's kind of taken me a while. I've been doing it since January now on my own. So I've gotten a lot better at it. It doesn't take me nearly as long as it did in the beginning, but it's still very tedious. I also have ADHD, so the attention span thing can kind of be difficult for me. I also had a concussion a couple of years ago, and I can get headaches, and like I have some post-concussive syndrome symptoms that can be exacerbated by looking at the screen for a long time. So I do sometimes have difficulty if I'm having a particularly difficult edit and I've been looking at my computer for a long time. I can start to get a headache and just not feel very well. So I have to watch out for that. This question says, how long have you been friends with Chili Bee, and did she inspire you to start ASMR? I have been friends with Chili Bee for a couple of years now. Hannah reached out to me, I want to say when I had around like 1,000 subscribers, maybe a little bit over 1,000 subscribers. And our initial relationship started off as like a mentor-mentee kind of thing. She would give me tips, talk to me about my content, talk to me about the algorithm and like stuff that I needed to look out for, which was like amazing to me because she completely volunteered that, and it was honestly really, really helpful for me. And then we kind of developed a friendship from there. Now I consider her a friend more than a colleague for sure. I wouldn't say she inspired me to create my content because I was watching ASMR content long before she was a creator, but we do have a very similar niche. Our channels kind of intersect as far as the ASMR community goes, and I would be lost without all of the expertise that she's given me. So I am very grateful for both our working and personal relationship. I miss her very much, and I'm super excited to go visit her in Seattle soon. So the last question I am going to answer today is kind of the elephant in the room, and that is, where is James? Everyone wants to know, where is James? And I get it. I fully understand. I'm going to answer briefly and succinctly and hopefully with grace. I do understand that you guys miss the rapport that we had together and seeing us on camera, and maybe even missed his demeanor in content. He will not be in any future videos, just for obvious reasons. I, for the time being, have decided to leave up the content that he was featured in. That is something that we agreed upon, that the content would, stay up for you guys to enjoy. So, he's aware that people can still watch his videos, and that's fine. That's something that we agreed upon mutually. That might change one day, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know that I'll always be comfortable having his videos be up on my channel. It is kind of difficult for me as a human being emotionally to just have people consistently asking for him. I'm sure you could understand if you were in a long-term relationship with someone and then that relationship ended, and then you have people just constantly asking you about this person. It can make it quite difficult. No ill will towards this person. We were in a loving relationship and I loved him very much, and I'm grateful for the time we spent together. He also helped me significantly with the channel. He was the editor of the content for the first 2+ years. He's given me an immense amount of education as far as the production side of things, because he's very familiar with that. So I will never take that away from him, and I know that you guys enjoyed having him for quite some time, so I'm thankful for that as well. But I think we should all just kind of move on gracefully and let the past remain in the past. So that is that. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else. I am going to check on my babies and clean up a little bit before my dad comes home. Pizza should be here soon. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions that I didn't answer. I tried to gather. A lot of them were kind of repetitive or just kind of reworded of the same question. So let me know if there's anything specific that I did not answer for you. I tried to do my best to answer things eloquently and give you guys a little bit of insight without delving too much into my personal life, but also giving you kind of an idea of who I am outside of just the ASMR community. And at this point, I'm just going to start rambling. So let's end it here. Thank you guys for watching.